This episode is brought to you by livingrelief.com, a Wolfpack owned business that is your source for Delta 8, CBD, THCV, gummies, tinctures, chocolates, all North Carolina based quality products that can help with sleep, anxiety, pain, and countless other medical benefits. Highly recommend checking these guys out. Their stuff is really good. And if you use code REDWHITE20, you get 20% off your first order. It's REDWHITE20. Livingrelief.com. Living, RELEAF.com. Thanks for listening.
I was raised by the wolves. I was raised by the wolves. I was raised by the wolves. Eight to they fool. Run through the night, playing with your life.
All right, folks, we are back with another edition of the Red and White Podcast. I'm your host, Devin, here with Will. Special guest, Scott Wood. I was trying to think of how to intro Scott Wood. I don't think he really needs an intro. I do have a question for you, Scott, though.
Yeah.
James Henderson and I know you know James. You all are friends. We are always talking about, can we have a 3-point contest against Scott Wood? Will he be down for it? Are you down to have a 3-point contest with me and James? James and I both think we're good shooters.
Only if we play for money.
All right, we'll bring that back to the golf course as well. So we'll even that one.
Only if we play for money. I've learned now that I've actually stopped playing. So it's been probably about close to 2 years now. Everybody wants to do these shooting contests. Like, even the other day, I was at someone's house and this kid's like, "Oh, I want to shoot," and we shot. And I mean, it wasn't even close. And so I've just come to the conclusion that everybody thinks because I'm not actively playing anymore, I can't shoot anymore, and I shoot just as good as I used to. So I just say, "Hey, we'll just do it for money now."
Would you have liked to have gotten 260 3-point attempts your freshman year?
That would have been nice. That would have been nice. I don't think I was in a position with how our team was because we had a highly talented roster.
Yeah.
But that would have been a lot of fun knowing that you could just come down and have the ultimate green light without a doubt.
I thought you'd like that one. All right, we're here to talk really about NIL, and for anybody who's been living under a rock, what is the Pack of Wolves and the NIL, and how did you get involved with all this?
Yeah, so obviously what everybody's kind of hearing is it's paying players. It's that name, image, likeness that everybody's going to hear. You know, I've seen some negative stuff, some positive stuff all over there. But the one thing and the reason why I wanted to get involved is, you know, everybody's kind of getting caught up in the money situation. Like we're going to see guys like Isaiah Wong that are going to come out and just say, "Oh, I need more money because I went to a Sweet 16." There's going to be some issues like that. We just can't avoid it. It's impossible. But one of the things that we can do is, you know, put the money aside and find out other ways that we can help these kids. When I was in school, I didn't have the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with Wendell Murphy because it was frowned upon. Now these kids can do that. And we encourage them to get to know, you know, a lot of these businessmen and women that have taken care of their scholarships. They've taken care of the facilities for so long. So it is. It's a new kind of world. Everybody's throwing the wild, wild west out there, which in a roundabout way it is. But the one thing with NC State and a lot of the people that are involved in this is we just want to make sure that we do it the right way. You know, NC State's a special place. The best fans in the nation. We want to do this right. You know, we don't have a guy that's going to just come drop $2, $3, $4 million into this thing. So we need to make sure that we do it right. We do it for the student athlete and look out for their best interest.
What is your role? Like I think you're executive director. What does that role do? And is this a full-time job for you?
So I still do currently have, I'm with a mortgage company and I've actually been really blessed in the opportunity that they have given me the ultimate freedom and green light to kind of take this thing on. So, essentially what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be helping these kids, you know, find deals. You know, I'm going to try to raise a little bit of capital for the collective. I'm going to have conversations with them. I'm going to try and pair them up with businessmen alike. We've got a really good group. Obviously, my name will be the executive director, but I keep telling everybody this is really a group effort. We're going to have an executive board. We're also going to have an advisory board. The advisory board is going to consist of probably 90% of it's going to be former student athletes. The other 10 are alumni, that have done really well for themselves or in the media, have created businesses, a lot of things like that. So, I just want to help, any way I can. And the main thing for me is just getting this thing up and running, and let's try and do it the right way. So it is, it's kind of, every question you're going to ask me is kind of a loaded question, because there's just so many holes that we can jump down with this, because there really aren't rules with it right now, which is a scary thing. And we as a group think that that's going to change over time. But we're trying to align ourselves the right way, so that when, if it's the NCAA, the ACC, or whoever comes down and tries to make some changes, we've already put ourselves in the right situation that we're going to be good regardless.
Yeah, we'll circle back to the, quote unquote, cracking down on these collectives that we've seen in recent reports in the last day or two. But before we get there, do you kind of envision yourself being in this executive director role for a long time? Or, is maybe the plan to find student athletes that have this kind of aptitude and kind of work them in, so that maybe you go into more of that advisory role down the line?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I've had this conversation a few times, and I don't really have a specific answer. I've talked with my wife. This is something that I could possibly end up doing full time. I think this is where a lot of my passion is giving back to the university and a lot of former student athletes, because there's a lot of sacrifices that these former student athletes go through that, quite frankly, a lot of people don't fully see. I tell the story all the time. I started in civil engineering. I had a coach come to me and say, "Hey, did you come to be a civil engineer or basketball player?" And that day I changed my major to sports management. It's little things like that. It's the dedication. So now's a unique chance for us to really help these student athletes, obviously from a compensation standpoint, but also to help them become better people, send them off into the real world, better men and women than when they first got to NC State, and create that same passion, hopefully, that what I have for NC State, that they will have one day. So in a perfect world, to be honest with you, I would love to just hire a bunch of former student athletes and former alumni to just kind of take this on full time. I think we got to get this at a good spot right now. And it may take, a year, 2 years, but in the meantime, I'm going to take it on and do the best I can with it, make sure that this thing is running smoothly.
Yeah, well, Evan and I are here to be brought in as consultants at any time, so don't worry.
Well, we'll need as much media help and all that other stuff. But we've already got some good ideas. We might be able to do some NIL content via a podcast on the golf course, and maybe invite some people to come play. We'll do an 8-man match, and get a few guys in there that we can raise some funds, and maybe get some fans out to Bentwins and do an event.
One of the things that I think Evan and I have championed a lot is experiences matter more today than maybe the traditional donation structure. So anything along that lines, I think, would get a lot of support from a larger portion of the fan base. But I guess I'll hop over to this question real quick. Does the collective have any first year targets or goals? Are you trying to get a certain amount of fundraising, a number of sponsorships for the athletes, things like that?
Yes, yeah. So that's a good question. So one of the things that we have is what we call an 1887 club. So this is kind of like the founding fathers, some of the really big businessmen throughout NC State that have kind of come in and kind of raised the initial capital. So our initial projection was we wanted 100 of them. We're already a third of the way there. These guys are already getting the money towards the bank account. And then on top of it, we have what is a monthly subscription. So, the guys that don't want to necessarily give bigger amounts of money, there's, a $25 a month, a $50 a month, a $100 a month. So almost a subscription that gives you certain access and content that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily get. It may be, we're doing some stuff with Inside Pack Sport with James that, you can get the content there. So when they do an interview, it's you're directed directly to there, signed autographs, certain things. We're going to have these kids, because when they are compensated, it is a job. They have to do something in return. So one of the things that we can do is, set aside an hour a day to where we just line up a bunch of footballs. We have guys sign the balls, they go down the line, and we can give those back to our, monthly subscriptions and people that have, donated money to this. So it's a very unique experience in the fact that fans, in a roundabout way, now are going to have a connection to these student athletes that they've never really had. And we have the opportunity to do that, and we have an opportunity to do it the right way and really help these student athletes along the way.
Is there, I'm trying to think of, you kind of addressed this. I don't even need to ask it with the 1887 club and then the subscription. I think that makes sense. Is there going to be, or do you envision multiple collectives? Like, I know IPS has one, you guys started one. Do you think other folks are going to come together and do their own, is it competition, or how do y'all view that?
And that's the great part about NC State is there can be as many collectives as we want. I think once you start getting a bunch of them, it may get, a little bit crazy. But the one thing about NC State and NC State people, it's the same with the Wolfpack Club, the same thing with Blue Corrigan. We're all swimming in the right direction. Everything we're doing is to help the school, to help the student athletes. So we keep telling everybody, look, we're going to be hand in hand with the Wolfpack Club. Like everybody, one of the questions I get asked is it a this or that? It doesn't necessarily have to be. I think some people are going to have a unique perspective to where they feel a little bit closer to the student athlete, so they could do this. And then there's going to be other people that, quite frankly, just don't agree with, paying a student athlete. They think an education is enough, so they'd rather just do the Wolfpack Club, which is perfectly fine. But we also got to find some additional, revenue streams. So this is going to be, we do a podcast on a golf course and charge, $20 to come. It's going to be these unique one-off things, which our minds have gone a million different places with what we can do, because it is the options are almost unlimited. One of the things we brought up is facility of tour facilities. We could do stuff like that. There's so many unique things. I've thrown Top Golf in Carter Finley. You know how many people would come and play the Top Golf in Carter Finley? There's so many unique things that you can do. Obviously, a lot of this is going to be dependent on the university and what they can do from the executive order standpoint, which is they cannot directly be involved in the deal if they're employed by the university, but they can show support. They can tweet, they can show that these guys have done really good work with our student athletes. We'd encourage you to do some work with them. So, in a roundabout way, we're not a part of the university, but we're all NC State people. So. It's just one of those unique experiences that, I've been lucky to kind of be a part of, and I've been able to meet a lot of, businessmen and men and women and NC State fans that just love what we're doing. And hopefully we can do it the right way that, pleases NC State fans as well as, really taking care of the student athlete.
Well, that dovetails. Sorry, Evan.
I was going to say, is there any, and you kind of mentioned it already, like people giving to the Wolfpack Club currently, and then now the NIL comes along. How do you think, or what's the pitch for, if I'm going to pick one, I should give to the NIL as opposed to the Wolfpack Club, right? I mean, that's going to be a tough decision, right?
I don't even want to answer it, because I know okay. Ben does a great job over there. I think Ben said the other day that since this has kind of started and people have started to hear about the collective, he's only had one person from the Wolfpack Club say, "Hey, I feel like I'm in a situation where I got to do either or." I think you may get a little bit of it, but again, I don't want to have to make people choose, because that's not what it's about. The Wolfpack Club is a very unique institution, and we're going to be a very unique institution. So one of the things, again, that we really need to try to figure out, and we're in the process of trying to do this, is trying to find other revenue streams. And one of them for me personally that I've really looked into is why can't we tap into the former student athletes a little bit more? It's one of the things that we really don't do very well, and that I kind of see myself as, possibly being able to do, is just kind of connect that bridge back to the former student athletes a little bit better. Having a guy like Phillip Rivers around more often, a guy like TJ Warren around more often. So this is one of the things too, that now that we're taking care of these student athletes and they turn professional or they turn into big business women, that they're going to remember, oh, they took care of me when I was there. Now it's my opportunity to help these current student athletes in the future.
And I would
a suggestion that Will and I have talked about a lot. Hang on, Will, is where they can differentiate themselves. Wolfpack Club and the NIL is Wolfpack Club is essentially driven towards tickets, right? Your reward is for you get better seats, better things like that. Where Will, who lives out of state, is still looking for that incentive to give or join the Wolfpack Club. Now, you give people like him who are not ticket based, give them an experience or, like you said, access or sign football or whatever. That's some motivation to join the NIL collective that is not, hey, you can get better seats, because that really doesn't apply to him. There's a lot of fans like that. So, keeping that in mind, as that's your perspective for, not people outside the area who, like, how do we bring them back in, like give them something to come in.
And that's one of the things too. And I don't know exactly where he lives, but we plan on especially doing a lot of very similar to the Wolfpack caravans, but bringing the student athletes. When I was a senior, we did a barnstorming tour. That's something that we could do with these student athletes and kind of take them around the state. We had the idea of renting an RV, loading up, 10 of them in an RV and just driving around the state for a few days. There's a lot of unique things that we can do. And, a lot of it is just pairing these fans, pairing these, businessmen and women with student athletes, because everybody has something that they want to share. I've had multiple stories from people that say, oh, you don't remember this, but you had an impact on, a kid, something you said to my kid a long time ago. I don't fully understand that, and these kids now don't fully understand that, but they do have an impact on a lot of these people because of what they've done for the university and how they get looked at as an athlete.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the way I view the Wolfpack Club is, season tickets, large donations to help with the structure of the programs. And then the NIL is going to help maintaining the athletes, keeping them, happy, keeping them, like you said, more interested in donating back in the future. So I think they can totally work together. And one of the things I was going to say is, I live in Richmond. So, season tickets is out of the question for me just on the weekends. But we won the, an opportunity to be on field for the Clemson game. And that was one of the best experiences I've ever had as a state fan. And I was willing to write any kind of check after that. And I think those kind of experiences will enable a cash flow that's probably been just untapped in the past. So, I guess one of the questions you were kind of talking about it earlier, what are sort of the rules that are in place and, what do you have to do to kind of maintain a good standing with compliance?
Yeah. So, the first one is the executive order, which you'll hear a lot about. So the state of North Carolina has an executive order that clearly states that the NC State Athletic Department, anybody employed by the university, cannot talk about a deal with the student athlete. So they can't come in there and say, oh, we've got X amount of dollars. The next step, which in the last few days has kind of gotten a lot of heat, is we can't try to tell somebody, hey, we have X amount of dollars if you come to NC State. Okay. We all kind of know in the back of our mind, this is not happening everywhere. That's fine. But the one thing we can control is ourselves. So once these kids sign their letter of intent and they are, committed to the school and they're getting to campus, that's when we as a collective can then have those conversations and structure some deals. So one of the things, especially that the NCAA in the last couple of days and probably in the future, they kind of came out with what they call a task force, simply just monitoring that these collectives and these group of boosters are not approaching, for example, someone in the transfer portal that says, hey, you come here, we've got X amount of dollars. We can have a conversation saying, hey, we're a collective. We're here for the university. That's one way you can do it. But I think honestly, too, the best way is structuring deals with current student athletes on your roster so that when you have these recruits visiting, they can have those conversations with the current student athletes and they can give them a little bit more information. So in a roundabout way, your recruiting is going to be, and it was in the past, I guess I shouldn't downplay that, but now, even more so, I feel like your current student athletes on your roster, when you're hosting these recruits, are going to be big time because they can kind of have a little bit more conversation than what these coaches can have and what we can have until they actually get to campus.
Yeah, one of the
got a scenario area that Will and I wanted to play out. So allowing athletes to make money by promoting a business, right? That was the essential foundation of the NIL.
Yeah.
Let's say Will doesn't have a business, but he still wants to contribute. He wants to donate $100 a month, $1,200 a year. How does that money get allocated to athletes? How do they earn it? Who earns it? What's that? How's that break down?
Yeah, so that's another good question. So a lot of this just kind of comes down to, it's not pay for play. So you can't technically do pay for play, and then they have to do something in return. These are two of the biggest things. So a lot of it comes down to if Will wanted to sponsor an athlete for his business. Will, what are we talking? What do we do?
Well, let's see. I'm trying to be safe here since my boss will be listening. I'm in power generation sales is how I'll say it.
Okay, so how for the power generation sales would we get the, most bang for our buck if we wanted to go to Devin Leary and said, hey, we've got $1,500 to get the most profit out of it for your company? This might be a tough one, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, the way I've always envisioned it is, I guess the way I look at it is like, if I'm donating money, I wouldn't be donating or I wouldn't be coordinating it necessarily with my brand. But if I was working with my company on it, we'd want to like hook something up and show like, how much power does Devin Leary generate with his arm? So we can say like, look, here's how our student athletes are contributing to clean energy. Boom, done. I think the broader question is going to be, I think a lot of folks will have is like, if I'm part of the monthly contribution, is it going directly to the players or like kind of like you were saying, right? Is it opening the opportunity for us to have these experiences with the players? I think that's kind of where we're going.
Yeah, no. And so one of the things that I really want to do is I do want to do a lot of events. We actually had an event the other day where I think it was 5 football players were there. And it was really good. The one thing that really intrigued me, and I told all the guys, I'm like, look, if you take anything away from this, just shake every single person's hand, ask what they do, ask how they've become successful, and grab a business card. Like that's a big thing. And again, probably the main reason I'm in it is for that sole fact that, it's a scary moment when I said I was done playing basketball and my resume said, oh, basketball. That's what my resume said. That's a very scary moment. But if these kids can kind of start to create those connections now, and in the future they're like, okay, now it's time for me to find something. They've already gotten to know all these people. They've already gotten to know all these people that work in many different industries. So they can start to pair them with, like-minded individuals, and then they can strike up a deal to get a job. So again, kind of to go back to your question, because I'm very easily sidetracked, as you can tell. It's being able to do an event. Why can't we do an event for fans and have 5 guys there? I was shooting hoops with the Thomas brothers the other day. Like these are little things that you don't necessarily get to see the everyday personality of the athlete, but now we can do type of events like that, and it kind of opens up the athlete in a different light that people have only seen them as the athlete. They're a lot more than that.
I want to, speaking of athlete, I want to kind of switch your perspective as a former student athlete. How would NIL have changed your experience in college in 2009? I'm sure Scott Wood coming in hitting threes, fan favorite. There have been some NIL deals for you available. How would that have changed your experience, as a player?
Yeah. So I tell this story all the time. As soon as I started getting paid, I lost a little bit of love for the game, and I lost a love for whatever team I was on. So when I played 8 years professional basketball, I started to lose a little bit of that. And I was also one of the ones that came out and said I don't fully agree with being paid for being an athlete, because I think the love that I had for the university, that a lot of these kids is now going to kind of be in question, because it's going to be about money. But the one thing that the more and more I'm getting involved with it, my mindset has changed a little bit, because I think also these coaches and their recruiting is going to have to change a little bit. If you're recruiting a guy that may be a big time recruit, and the first thing he asks is what can I be compensated? He may not be the right guy at NC State. We want people at NC State to be at NC State because they love this university. they love this institution, they love the education that they can get, and that they love these fans. And again, I mean, I'm not going to be naive in the fact that we're going to get some that, you know, are going to be about the money. But I keep giving the same example. If I can get 1 out of 10 deals, and I can have that one person and have a positive impact and set them up for a better future and become a better person, is it worth it? And to me, it is. That's just the bottom line. You know, not everybody can listen, and I'm going to pair them with a Ralston Turner who's, you know, a financial advisor and can help these kids get a Roth IRA, get a mutual fund. I can do all these things. I can't make them listen. I can give them my experiences. I'd like to think they'd listen, but if I can get 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 5, I feel like I've done my job. You know, I can't make everybody do it, but we have the opportunity to do it now, and we should try to do it the right way and help as many as we can.
Spoken like a true parent there, Scott.
I am a parent now. I got 2 of them.
I know.
Neither of
I can't make them do it, but I can try. Yeah, I like
neither of them have a Roth IRA right now, but maybe in the future.
Should fans, so from a team perspective, and should fans worry or players worry about team chemistry if somebody lands a big deal? Like, how is that going to impact the dynamics in there? Or, you know, is that going to make the coach's job with, you know, culturally that much harder? Like, how do you envision that?
Yeah, it's definitely going to make it harder. There's no doubt about it, you know, because one guy's going to say, oh, I'm worth X amount. The other guy's going to say, I'm worth X amount. But I also think that if they can create the type of culture, you know, that everything kind of matters. I mean, the real side of this is somebody's going to get paid more. Like somebody, you know, again, it's not pay for play, but somebody is going to be worth a little bit more than somebody else. That's just the facts. But even the conversations I've had with these coaches, I told Kevin Keats multiple times, I do not envy this guy whatsoever. Like, he shows me the transfer portal and it's this thick, and, you know, every freshman that doesn't play more than 5 minutes is transferring. Like, this is not a fun time to be a coach, and it's very difficult. And now with NIL, it's a whole nother layer that they got to try to keep that locker room happy, because one of the things too to be successful is you got to have a good culture. And a lot of that's going to fall on the coaches, and they're going to have to kind of try and figure that side of it out. But I'd like to think that Boo Corrigan, you know, has hired the right people. I trust him that he can kind of manage this, and their coaches can manage this the right way to find success on the field, on the court, in the pool. So is it going to be easy? No, not at all. But these kids also have to understand, you know, if you go out there, work hard, you know, you create a brand for yourself, you know, play well, you're going to be compensated, you know. But you got to put all the work in. It's just not something that we're just going to roll out of bed and say, oh, here's a check. You know, we gotta become good people, good citizens, good faces for NC State, because that's the one that these, you know, a car dealership wants to work with, someone that's, you know, likable, you know, someone that NC State fans can relate to. Those are the people that these businesses are looking for. So that's one of the messages too that we're trying to get across is, you know, it's not all going to be equal, but it's also not going to be equal when they get in the real world. If they turn into a professional athlete where it is pay for play now, you know, the best players get paid the most. You know, that's kind of how it is in the real world. Your best workers, your best people in your business are going to get paid the most money. That's typically how it works. So, that's something that the coaches are just going to have to get across to these kids. And again, you're going to have these one-offs that, you know, may get a little frustrated and not like it, but it's where we're at. It's the state of NIL, and all we can do is the best we can do as NC State and as fans is try to support the university and try and do it the right way.
So I'll switch gears slightly here.
Yeah.
So what was it like as a former player to see State be under that NCAA investigation for years about something now we're basically allowed to freely participate in?
It's tough, but I've had this conversation with a couple people too. You know, what happened then was illegal then. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
Allegedly.
I think the NCAA, yeah. Well, if we're getting penalized, they better have something better than allegedly. I mean, that just, to me, losing a scholarship on allegedly just doesn't make sense. So one guy picks up the phone and said NC State did something wrong and you can't find any evidence, let's take away a scholarship. Like, that just doesn't make sense. But okay. But that was the rules now. Then, sorry. That was the rules then. So now it's a completely different time. So, I mean, I understand, kind of where they're coming from, but I also think a lot of this falls on the NCAA for just being sloppy and just, quite frankly, not caring. Because probably in a perfect world, the way this should be done is it should be done through the NCAA and through the athletic department. The athletic department and the university and the NCAA should probably be paying these kids. But we don't want to take away money from the NCAA. That would just be wrong.
Have you spoken with any of the current players about their NIL goals?
Yeah, we've had a few conversations. We announced that Tim McKay was our first kind of athlete we signed. I hope every deal's like that. I mean, he's one of the brightest kids you'll ever meet. We've had conversations with, we sat down at Emidio's the other day, the Thomas brothers, Bryson Spieth, Peyton Wilson, Isaiah. We've had conversations with a few of them. So we've started to make these, initial conversations. We've had conversations with a couple of the women's basketball players as well. So we're getting into this thing and it's moving pretty quick. We've got what we call an ambassador program, which is going to be, just a monthly structure to where they're going to do a lot of social media posts, come into certain events, some meet and greets, some things like that, just to raise awareness about the Pack of Wolves. So we're reaching out to these kids, trying to find out what they like, things that, interest them in the future. And then ultimately just pair them up with people within the community that can help them.
How does the Pack of Wolves, it's an interesting question. Like how's the NIL going to help the student athletes remain, financially sound as they build their brands? I know that's a lot of the focus for these kids who have talked about it is, building their brand, building their brand. How are you guys going to help them? What's the resources do they have for guidance? Because I know a lot of them, they're 18, 19, 20 years old, don't have that, perspective or understanding. What is that? Are y'all playing a part of that, or is that like somebody else?
No, that's all of us. So one of the conversations I had with the Thomas Bros, because they're very bright. They asked us the question is, how can you guys help me? Because they already have a brand, they've kind of already created a brand for themselves. How can they help? Website creation, creating a LLC for their brand. And the great part about NC State is it's the strength in numbers. So you're telling me I can't find a guy that can create an LLC or a website? I know multiple people that can help with that. So again, it's obviously you got to build a little bit of trust with these current student athletes to come to you and ask those questions so that we can get them with the right people. Ralston Turner is one of my best friends, financial advisor. You know what? Every conversation I have with these kids about a deal, the next person that should open their mouth and say something is Ralston Turner. How can I help you, reach your financial goals, be financial savvy, understand certain things that you may not understand. They're going to get taxed. Do I have a CPA sitting there explaining what a 1099 is? All of this stuff is going to be through the collective. It's not going to be, we're going to sign a deal and just throw them away. No, this is not what this is about. This is life. This is them entering the real world just a little bit earlier than graduation. So we need to help them because I was there. I understand. I didn't know what 1099 was. If someone handed me a check, I didn't understand what taxes were. So we're going to have to do a lot of this stuff. And a lot of this stuff is probably going to bore them, but they're going to have to learn it because it's real world situations that can get them in trouble in the future.
I love it. Scott, I want to be conscious of your time, but I got one more question for you. And this is more Scott Wood trivia. I was looking up your stats last night as I was trying to see how many 3-pointers you shot your freshman year, just for a comparison. But the one stat that really stood out to me, do you know how many blocks you had, career blocks?
I know when I left, I was 15th all time.
You hit 79 career blocks. That blew me away.
Listen, if you ask anybody, that's just a bad defender that never gives up on a play. That's what that is. So a bad defender that lets his guy blow by and that's lucky enough to be 6'6" with a little bit of a wingspan. That's what that is.
79 career blocks is getting it done for a guy who lives in the 3-point line.
And the funny thing is, it's funny you bring that up. So I'll have a conversation with a lot of people because I'm proud of a lot of the records that I did there, but I tell everybody, I said the one thing that I'm probably most proud of is blocks. And it's not first, it's not top 10, it may not even be top 20 anymore, but when I left, I was top 15 in blocks. That, to me, that was just, if anybody would have said that, I was so proud of that. And Levi Watkins, to this day, we still joke about it. It's just like, it's one of those things that nobody would have ever guessed.
No, I mean, that stood out to me. I mean, I see rebounds, all the other things you got in here, 79 career blocks. Like, damn, Scott Wood's getting it done.
I didn't even take 79 career dribbles, so that's
right. Exactly. Well, Scott, I appreciate your time. Is there anything else you want to add? Anything you want to throw out there for the folks? Where they find information.
I appreciate the time and the opportunity to kind of talk about this, and ultimately this is all about the student athlete. All these funds are going back into the student athlete. We just want to help them become better individuals. We want to educate them on a lot of different pieces about life, connect them with the businessmen, connect them with fans in a unique way that we haven't been able to do for a while. I know there's still going to be a lot of questions. The website is going to be up soon. There'll be a lot of Q&As on that. There'll be emails as well that they can get in contact with additional questions that they may have. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be scary. But the one thing I know is NC State is built on really, really good people. And there's a lot of really, really good people out there that just want to help these student athletes in the right way. And those are the people that we need to be involved, that need to help, not only from a financial standpoint, but as well as just helping these kids become better individuals and give them the tools to be successful.
Well, Scott, I appreciate your time. We will get on the golf course soon. And if there's anything else that we can do to help y'all in the future, please reach out and let us know.
Without a doubt. We'll be in touch. I do appreciate your guys' time.
As always, go Pack.
Go Pack.
I was raised by the wolves. I was raised by the wolves. 8 till they fall. Run through the night, playing with your life. Going against the pack, that's risking your life. Better